It's starting now.
All right, greetings everybody. We're live. Today, something historic is taking place. The Temple of Anu has come to visit.
I'm sorry.
The Temple of Anu has come to visit the studio Ptah. Give energy, everybody in the room. A lot of times, in our community, we hear of each other. Everyone knows Baaba, and people know me also. This is the benefits of live. It's all live time. So people know us in the community, but they rarely ever see us do things together, if anything together. So we just took the opportunity to monopolize off of that, because we talk about unity in our community, but we rarely see the demonstrations of unity. So we took the day as an opportunity to demonstrate our unity. So today we have the high priest from the Temple of Anu to coming together with the high priest from the Temple of Ptah. And that's Ankh Ra-ny Ptah, affectionately known as Baaba Heru, and I am called Naswt Biti. My name is Sankhu Kheper Ra. The Temple of Anu and the Shrine of Ptah together on this Aten Ra day. So now, most people don't know in ancient times there was a Temple of Anu and there was a Temple of Ptah. The Temple of Ptah was known as Menefer in ancient times, also known as Memphis in the Greek, and the Temple of Anu was known as Heliopolis, and it was known as Om in the Bible. Mm-hmm. Just like as it was with our ancestors, we say from the ancient legacy to the living legacy. So the head deity or the patron deity of Anu or Heliopolis or Om was Ra in the form of Aten Ra.
True.
And the high patron deity of Menefer or Memphis was Ptah.
May I interject here, my beloved? You know, one of the epithets of Ptah was Ptah south of his wall.
Ptah south of the wall.
Yes.
Okay.
And here we are in New York, Menefer, north of the wall.
Okay.
North of Wall Street.
Okay. Okay.
Where our ancestors are resting, by the way, down by the burial ground, right?
Could you tell the people a little bit about the attributes of Ptah?
Ptah is known as the architect of the universe. That Ptah with 8 Ari constructed the universe and laid the stars in heaven with an iron slab. Now, that's esoteric talk, and I think I have to still meditate on what that means. But Ptah is a net of all craftspeople, whether they work in leather, stone, metals, architecture. The building of those temples were laid out by Ptah. But the foundation of the temple, where the temple would be oriented to, was conducted by the priestesses of Sesheta, right? They're the ones who drew the cord to position the Holy of Holies, where the temple, where the star would come once a year to visit their temple. And it would go all the way back. It would come through the pylons. Sometimes some temples had about 3 or 4 pylons. And the light of that one star would come almost like a telescope, like this, and go right into the back and shine on the ark in the back in the temple on the Holies of Holies. You see, so Ptah is here for everyone. Every one of us can experience Ptah if we use more of our hands. The museum is filled with the works of the hands of the crafts people of Ptah, women and men. So get busy, y'all. Okay?
And we just should understand that all deities or all Neteru are just variations of one another anyway. Right. So there's really no separation between Ptah and Sekhmet or Ra. So now Ra is the high deity of the Temple of Anu. So Ra represents enlightenment, it represents illumination. You see the symbols of the sun disk with the rays with Ankh. So it's talking about the life-giving, the instructive, nurturing qualities of the sun. So the symbol of the sun represents the unlimited ability to achieve. So what does it mean when you got the high priest of the Temple of Anu coming together with the high priest of the Shrine of Ptah? So we put it together. Ptah is the creator force, and then we have Ra, which is actualization of potential for us. So we come together to craft these hesses in order for us to tap or access our divine potential and be able to act on our divine potential. Isn't that a powerful thing? And it's such a beautiful thing. That's how we add in the feminine. That's Het Heru. It expresses itself in beauty. And when we also do these things, it has a prophylactic effect. It's protective. And there's the Sekhmet piece in it. So all the deities always present in everything that we do. There's always flip sides to everything. So our job is just to try to access as much of that potential as possible. So now, when we talk about Hesse, I was studying some Plato, the Greek philosophers. A lot of times the Greeks studied the ancient Kemites, and they called them the Egyptians. They studied the Kemites and they wrote down their observations. This is what they said about the music. They said the ancient Kemites were very keen on what they even allowed their children to learn. They said they didn't let them learn lyrics or songs unless it had something to do with supporting virtue. And when it came to dance, they were also restrictive. They felt like they needed to protect the children's minds, because once you lose control of your mind, you lose control of their behavior. So in a sense, we could, you can make the parallel to now. What is the music now? It's called trap music. So in a sense, we drop the ball and we let them figure out things on their own, but to what cost? You have trap music. Trap, and she said the entrapment, and it also means to lock in. Lock into what? It's locking into drugs, it's locking into excessive sexuality, it's locking into debauchery and things like that.
And guns.
And violence. And music has always been the soundtrack of a people. It's always been the soundtrack of a movement. And I was saying before, like hip hop, or I ain't not saying hip hop, music always instructs the people to what it is that you're supposed to stand for. So we have to look at our music now, or look what's happening to our music. What is it instructing us on? So not to knock the younger generation, we have to look at what it is that we do. We're conscious folks, we're enlightened folks, we're people that walk this path. So what is it that we do in between being activists and protesting and studying and working our jobs? Because some people call what it is that we do spooky. They call it spookism and all of that stuff. And it's just pseudo. Yeah, that's the word, pseudo. So we have to draw the line in the sand, because there's a lot of things in the world that we can't do anything about. And the one thing that we can do something about is control our feelings, how we feel about something. So how do we control how we feel about something or ourselves? We use Hesi. And we use Hekao. That's our own form of mind control, how we control our own mind and our own senses. So now let's look at the word Hesi. Let's break it down. How many people know the metoneta list for Hesi, the main two?
It's a very slim vase.
He says a slim vase. It's a libation vase. What's the first letter in Hesi? What's the first? H. So what's the glyph for Hesi? Twisted flax. Is it twisted flax? Twisted. So what does that bring to mind when you see the twisted rope?
Infinity.
He said infinity.
DNA, yeah.
Caduceus, he said the DNA. Like, what we're trying to get to is like, what's it have to do with Hesi? Like when you see the twisted rope or the twisted ties in, intertwining. Wasn't we layering chants and stuff like that?
Right.
So the coming together of two, the harmonizing of two. Now the next symbol is what Baaba said is the libation vase. It's interesting, the libation vase, the word for libation is derep. Can y'all say that?
Derep.
And derep is drip, is dripping water.
Yes, right.
So what are we dripping water for? Who are we dripping water for or to?
Ancestors.
So what does the libation vessel symbolize then?
The connection between
Between
past and
your
present.
It's one word with an O. Offering. Yeah. Libation offering. So we come together to make an offering. And then the S. What is the S symbol that they use?
Folded cloth.
Folded cloth. See, the folded cloth to me reminds me in the bathroom, you got the folded cloth on the rack. So what are the two major things folded cloths are for?
You're wearing it around your neck right now.
You wearing it around? Oh yeah.
You see, and when I went to Nubia, I noticed that the men always wear a scarf in the evening, and then they throw the long part over there because you protect your neck, because this is where cold enters the body. So it preserves your health, you know, which I don't think is a bad thing, but I think that if we have less acid, we wouldn't need to be catching colds. Because the body is trying to get rid of excess acid, that's all. And mucus.
So he said to protect. So what's the other thing cloths do?
To wash.
Clean. So to cleanse and protect. So to come together to offer with words that cleanses as well as protects. And then there's the determinative at the end of the word. Y'all know what a determinative is in Metonetta? What is the determinative?
It tells you the meaning of the word. It tells you the meaning of the word.
It tells you the meaning of the word. So what is the determinative for hesse? Like, how do we know hesse? What hesse could possibly mean? What determinative would they use?
I think I've seen the seated figure with like this, with the ear cupped, When they chant, you can hear the note better when you cup it. Paul Robeson used to do that. He used to cup his ear when he sang. I remember seeing that.
I think I've seen depictions of that, like when with the musicians actually playing and the man is down. Like that would be the equivalent to the Hebrew cantor. He's a chanter, but the determinative is a man sitting, but he has his hand to his mouth. So that's, remember I said at the beginning, we don't want to get too lost in the music, because when it comes to hesse, it's about the emphasis on the voice and the vibration of the voice. So here you have hesse to come together, to harmonize, to offer up words that reciprocate in our lives, cleansing as well as protecting. So it's prophylactory as well as just resonant and vibrational. So now we have the juxtaposition of hesse, and then we have hekau. What is hekau?
Words of power.
Spiritually effective actions.
I like that one.
Spiritually effective action.
That's SEA. That's what I use to remember, you know, because they use a pejorative term called magic. You know. So we want to give it its proper.
So we could use all of it and build it together. I like to say it's his spiritual authority, because it's nothing in the actual glyph to say it indicates anything really about the word, unless it gets to the actual determinative. But it goes back to the twisted flax again, right? Or the twisted rope. What do we use rope or flax for when you twist it? To bind, to tie, to hold. Okay, now the next letter is ka. And what did that represent?
Spirit.
Ethereal. Double,
What's the word they use for it with a V? How they translate it in English?
Victory.
Vitality. So we have the two arms are symbolic of strength. So something you grasp a hold of with both of your hands with strength. So you have something that binds and has something that represents strength. So hekau, now you see why they say hekau is words of power. So now hesse is repeated phrases in the context of, I guess, for lack of a better word, religiosity is phrases. And hekau is equivalent to what they say mantra is. Now, you have words that mean things and you have words that do things. Now, hekau don't have to mean anything because it's about the effect. Hesse's mean things, they're words of prayer like dua, netara, atenra, you know, all of those are hesse, while hekau is what you experience Baaba do when he start rolling them R's and stuff like that. Remember I said it starts working on your subtle bodies. Now the word mantra comes from the Hindu word man and tra, it means to steady the mind. So that corresponds with hekau, the twisted rope to bind together and hold with force. We're talking about the mind, the mental energy that we use through the power of the throat chakra and the voice to have an effect, like what Baaba said, effective influence upon your nature or upon existence as we know it. So I just wanted to go over that just so we're clear on what the meanings of these words are and what it is that we're trying to achieve. So we're trying to build up energy so we can have a form or a sense of spiritual authority in our lives. Because we're not just praying to outside forces, we're actually drawing forces in. And the more that force you draw in, the more effective and more powerful you can become in creating your reality. You don't want to keep it all in. We're constantly creating our reality. So the point is, when you fill yourself with hesse and hekau, you're consciously in control, because you're always creating whether you know it or not. You're always creating. So just because you didn't know you created something doesn't absolve you of the responsibility of what it is that you created. So you can't go wrong by keeping your mind and your subconscious programmed with hesse and hekau, because once you program that seed, it starts reverberating that all the time, whether you're conscious of it or not, and that's what you're magnetizing back to you, you know, because your life is just giving you biofeedback anyway. You know, so we want to just put that out there to the people out there online, and we want to share some of our experience of what we do in between all the other things that we do in our lives, because this is how we control how we feel, and the better we feel, the more powerful we feel, the more powerful we become. And that's imperative. We don't do it enough. I would say, we were just discussing here that we probably should do this at least once a season. I know we all busy, but you know, we have to prioritize.
True.
We've been scattering our energies many different ways, and everything that I'm saying, we all know, we all intuitively know. It's just a matter of coming down to make a decision to actually do it. Wise people make decisions, you know, and there needs to be wisdom in decisions. And when we come together, it can't just be for talk. It might as well come together for power.
True.
You know.
Everybody got that right.
All right, so like we're gonna share with you all some of what it is that we do. So y'all want to stand up and get ready to show the world a taste of what hesse and hekau.